What's up, Revo fans? If you've tuned in recently to our YouTube channel or to our magazine, you've no doubt seen that we've been doing a lot of test riding on our regular bikes, but we've also been doing a ton of test riding for our Evolution magazine with our e-bikes of late. One thing we get a lot of at the magazine is we get a lot of emails from fans at home who have sort of gotten into the bike market through e-bikes. Which is awesome. The regular mountain bike we find, are more for the hardcore bike riders, but the e-bikes have definitely opened up a realm of mountain bike riding to a demographic of people who may not have got into e-bikes or into mountain biking previously. So we get a lot of requests, and our test team does, on a few tech tips on how to ride your e-bikes. So we figured we'll listen to those fans at home, and we'll start running you guys through a few tech tips on the differences between riding your regular bike and riding your e-bike. So today we're going to have a chin wag about one of the crowd favorites, and that's how to do wheelies. So with your regular bike, obviously the difference between your regular bike and your e-bike, no doubt everyone's noticed, is the weight. And the weight is going to impact a lot on the riding characteristics between your regular bike and your e-bike. So the fundamentals with sort of doing a wheelie with your regular bike or your e-bike sort of stay the same. However, as just mentioned, the differences in weight does impact on how your bike handles, but also with the settings on your actual motor, the differences in torque does really impact on how efficiently you can do a wheelie. So to break it down for everyone, you want to do this similar with both bikes, but there's a couple of little tricks with your e-bike so you can do your wheelies better. So we don't want to have our seat up really, really high. We want to have our seat down nice and low, because we're going to keep our center of gravity nice and low. One of the tricks, and probably the biggest safety trick to learning how to do wheelies, is feathering your back brake. So if we're popping a wheelie up and we're going to loop out and land on our back, if we feather our back brake, it's going to bring our front wheel down, and that actual extra torque at the pedals is what is going to bring our front wheel up. And obviously the trick is, as everyone knows at home, is finding that nice balance point and being able to maintain that. Sure, like as you get better, you might not need to use your back brake and whatnot as you lean into sort of manuals and wheelies. However, just covering that back brake to bring that front wheel down is probably the biggest safety tip. The next thing is, find yourself, like we've got here, a nice flat bit of ground or a slight uphill where there's nothing you're actually going to run into whilst you're actually doing your wheelies. Okay, the next tip would probably be is, after you've found yourself a nice safe area, nice open bit of ground where you're not going to run into anything, you want to sort of get yourself in a nice sort of middle range of your gears, and so you can actually maintain the momentum. So a gear you can get the front wheel up, but a gear you can sort of continue to pedal whilst you're doing your wheelie. I mean, sure, you can change gears as you're riding, but that's probably a component to doing a wheelie you shouldn't worry about if you're just sort of learning how to do it, or just kicking off doing your wheelies. Sure, there's some people at home watching this who have probably got their wheelies dialed, so this it probably isn't going to apply to you guys at home. But for those who have always had an interest in getting their wheelies dialed, especially on their e-bike, then these are definitely some tips that may help you guys at home. So find yourself a nice bit of ground. When we're going to get our wheelie in the air, we want to basically at the same time cover our brake, give our pedals a big yank, and give a big lift on the bars until we get to that balance point. Continue to pedal, okay, whilst feathering that back brake. And the other thing is when you sort of tend to your balance lean one way, you want to sort of turn your front wheel and position your body weight the opposite way to your falling, and the other way, considering which way you're falling with the bike, and that's how you're sort of going to maintain that balance and not fall side to side as well. So the other thing with these is, especially your e-bike, you've got a number of settings depending on which motor you're going to run. This one here, we've got an EP8, so it runs an economy, it runs a trail, and it runs a boost setting. And the same with your gears, you sort of want to get it probably in the middle setting. I find if you try in the trail setting, the economy settings probably hasn't got as much torque to sort of get that front wheel up, but the trail is a nice sort of happy medium like your gears as well. So, and it's got a bit of a smoother power delivery. So if you're going to try it in the boost setting, it's probably got too much torque, and it's very, very hard to sort of maintain that balance point when you're sort of you know, got that additional torque. It is very, very, very hard to balance. Sure, you can do it once you get better at it, but if you try it in the trail setting, middle gears, feather your back brake, keep your seat down so you've got your center of gravity nice and low, nice flat bit of ground. And the biggest key to this trick is practice. Trust me, if you guys practice your wheelies every time you're sort of out on the trails, or you just got a bit of spare time at home, before you know it, you'll have your wheelies dialed, and you'll definitely be pressing your mates at the local coffee shop in the afternoon.